Thank you for staying with us. We appreciate your company this afternoon. The majority in Parliament came out swinging, rejecting what it describes as reckless calls by the minority for President John Mahama to sack Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa. The minority, led by Deputy Ranking Member Nana Asafo-Adjei, accused the minister of abuse and dereliction of his duty. It also demanded the removal of Ghana's ambassador to the United States, Victor Smith. But barely 24 hours later, the majority says those calls will go nowhere, insisting it will not back the removal of either official. Now, joining us is my colleague Michael Ashale, who was at Parliament and joins me. Michael, what exactly angered the majority?
Well, the exact words that the minority decided to do, particularly from the Deputy Ranking Member on the Foreign Affairs Committee, which essentially enumerated a number of things that they thought that the Foreign Affairs Minister, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, is unable to do. One of it is that they mentioned oral, and they thought that given some of the utterances he had made prior to John Mahama coming to office and some of the promises he had made, by now they thought that he should have done something, that this is not a man of integrity, a man that has been able to keep his word. They also went ahead to the minority yesterday, also mentioned that, well, given some of the things that are happening internationally, more recently about the U.S.'s decision to actually restrict visa application for non-immigrant applications to the USA, they thought that the Foreign Affairs Minister has failed in that sector because he has not been able to reverse that since the US made that announcement last week. They also went ahead to make some other contents about the Ghana's ambassador to the US, Victor Smith. And after saying all of that, they thought that these people should be sacked by John Dramani Mahama. The majority today, barely 24 hours after that, have taken exceptions to some of the things that the minority raised yesterday. They thought that Okudzeto-Ablakwa by far is one of the best performing ministers, and they thought that if for nothing at all, John Mahama should not be listening to the concerns of the minority in this case. They thought that this gentleman, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, rather deserves some big ups because of some of the things he's done, reforming the passport application processes in the country, making it now more decentralized in the country. So they also thought that the person, as in the minority leader, Deputy Ranking Member, who had addressed the news conference, also had overstepped his boundaries, that one, they thought that he was not being subordinate because ordinarily he should have gone through the ranking member on the committee. That would have been Samuel Jinapo on that committee. They thought that he did not run this by him, and that some of the calls that he was also making smacks of insubordination. And I also thought that blatantly some of the things he was saying was also not outright facts, and that they were just being spinning half-truths around just to make Samuel Okudzeto look bad. They thought that he did not do it well, and maybe next time he should actually consult his leadership before he actually makes any such comments again in the future. So these are some of the things that the majority leader, the majority on the Foreign Affairs Committee led by Van der Poel and also his deputy were unhappy about these particular utterances that were made by the minority yesterday.
Well, thank you so much, Michael, giving us updates on the response by the majority side of Parliament. Away from that, Ghana's former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta's long stay in U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement detention will continue for the next 97 days until the U.S. Immigration Court sits on his case in April. Judge David Gade rejected an application by his lawyers for his bail in a bail bond redetermination on Tuesday. The judge has, however, granted that all subsequent proceedings on the matter be held off camera after Ken Ofori-Atta's lawyers successfully argued that the case hinged on the disclosure of matters of security concern. And the U.S.-based immigration lawyer Janelle Oklu explained what transpired in court Tuesday night. It's just the beginning of the matter about his bail condition and has nothing to do with the extradition exercise or request filed by the Ghana government. She spoke to Evans Mensah on PM Express.
To be clear, I know that, it was stated that today was his deportation hearing, but in fact, that's not actually so. What was happening today was a redetermination of his bond hearing, is what I got. So essentially, his lawyers had previously requested for him to be released on bond. What his lawyers are trying to do is basically to get him out of detention. He's detained. I'm sure he's very uncomfortable in his current situation, and they just want to get him out. They want him to be able to, return home for the rest of this process instead of essentially being, in detention, as you see him there in his uniform, in the jumpsuit. So the lawyers had previously requested it. It was denied. And so today was a redetermination. So his lawyers are requesting once again for the judge to allow him to be released on bond. So that was what today's hearing was. The other thing is the next step would have been, if we could have been, able to hear, but unfortunately, it's in camera, we couldn't see any further. The next step would have been the master calendar hearing. The master calendar hearing is the hearing where basically the charges against him are brought. And I'm talking about immigration charges. The immigration charges against him are brought. We are not getting into criminal issue or the extradition.
With the case now set to potentially travel a long haul, international law lecturer at the University of Ghana School of Law, Professor JoyNews says the only way this matter can be truncated is if Ken takes a personal decision to come home.
Yes, he could, based on the fact that the revocation of his visa and the case that has been brought before him, which led to his appearing before the immigration court, yes, it's not based on his having committed a crime in the U.S. It is only when he has committed a crime that the U.S. court will try him, and if he is found guilty, will serve his time. And after serving the time, then he will be deported from the country. Okay. This is a purely immigration matter. And number two, the extradition aspect is also there. And as we know, extradition can take a very long time to deal with, and it's going to take the resources of the Department of Justice of the United States and so on. And so if on his own he decides to return to Ghana, he has the right to do so. Yes, he has the right to freedom of movement, and the freedom of movement means that he can leave any country at any time. There's only a restriction on entering another country, which calls for a visa. So if he is exiting the country, he has the right to do that. Any day, anytime.
Okay, so in effect, he can decide to come to Ghana, and that's the end of the case.
That will end the case, both the extradition case and then the immigration case against him.
We can also listen to one of his lawyers, Frank Davis, on Judge Gada's request for proof of the extradition request filed by the Ghana government.
At last night, the feedback I have from my counterpart lawyer that there was no sufficient proof of that request.
Okay.
When that objection was raised, so the judge has granted the government authority, as he should do, 30 working days to bring ample proof of the extradition request or proceed. Based upon that, the matter stood again. That aspect of the bill putting bond or the bond application stood again to the 19th of February, which is exactly 30 working days as of fine. So let us all keep our fingers crossed and wait for the 19th February barrier.
Okay.
When that barrier is crossed, we'll know whether Ken will be released on bail or out.
Meanwhile, bring back Ken Ofori-Atta chants rang through the surroundings of the U.S. Embassy in Accra today as pressure group Arise Ghana intensified its protest, entering day 2 of what it says is an indefinite picket. The group insists they will not retreat until its demands are met, calling on the United States government to deport former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta to Ghana to answer to corruption allegations leveled against him.
The U.S. is a country of law. So we wait and see the final judgment. But we as Arise Ghana, we have nothing to do with Ken Ofori-Atta's immigration issues. All we are asking is he should come home and face justice. we have nothing to do relating to his immigration issue. He should come home. He should come home and account for his stewardship as a former Minister of Finance. Salom is one of the lead conveners for Arise Ghana. Salom, yesterday we had the court case. So shouldn't that have been something satisfactory for you people, since the end goal of that particular hearing is to get former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta back to the country?
We are, for us at Arise Ghana, we are not disheartened at all or perturbed about the court outcome yesterday. The court adjourned the case to April 27th. Arise Ghana will continue to do and seek or pursue our object, which is to bring Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta back to Ghana. We'll continue to do this thing. The court outcome has not affected in our team in any adverse manner. It has rather encouraged us to do more so that Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta will be brought to Ghana, because accountability is integral. It is critical to the development of or in consolidating the democracy we so much cherish. Without accountability, democracy will be no more. We need accountability. Our public officials must at all times account to us. Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta must come back to Ghana to account to us. We need him here.
Now, our category is even the biggest fish pond in Ghana. How can it be?
How did you know? It's not a fish pond.
Why did they dig the footings without any work? Now, it is the biggest fish pond, because after the footings, they didn't do anything. Only rain for that has kept in there. And it's not even dry. Because of what? Always it's rain. And Ghana said we have a lot of water land in Ghana.
Let me take you to the U.S. Embassy, where my colleague Collins Frimpong is on standby. Collins, if you can hear me, earlier organizers hinted at occupying the main entrance of the embassy. Has that happened?
Did that, and the people moved to the embassy, which is the jurisdiction of the U.S. government. They moved there, but interestingly, most of the time they won't allow you to move to that area if you are not going to the embassy. They won't allow you to go and stand there and even take pictures. But the people had an agreement with the police, and they were allowed to move and go and stand in front of the embassy. And I mean, when I say in front, they crossed the road and moved to where, you see, most of the time, the wall, the metal wall they were allowed to stand there for about 10 minutes, even though the people were originally will not be allowed. And the police too were there ensuring that everything is fine. It only caused vehicular traffic around this particular area, but trust the Ghana Police Service to ensure that everything will be fine. They've brought in a number of police officers and ensuring that everything is fine. Where I am is the area that they have barricaded the area, and also ensuring that the people also are safe. No one is being knocked out by a vehicle. But at the moment, they've moved to the embassy. Just in front of the embassy, they've crossed the road, which is the U.S. embassy's, the U.S. government's jurisdiction. I believe my camera guy will show you the visuals. But I have Honorable Hossein Adoye, lead member of United Party, and also I have Solomon Owusu, also here, Director of Communication for United Party, that I'll be engaging. Mr. Hossein, yesterday you were here, today you've come here again.
Yes, we need to give our support to Arise Ghana to make sure Ken is back home so that we start the processes.
But we know yesterday the court proceedings happened, and we know that the judge decided to adjourn the case to April 27th, and also asked that on February 19th the government provide the extradition request that government of Ghana has asked. Is it not something that you should give you some level of satisfaction, knowing very well that the extradition process is already ongoing?
Yeah, we know it's ongoing, but Americans, these are the language that they understand. Are you getting it? Demonstrations like this, they understand it. People can lie that, maybe Ken is being persecuted or something of that sort. But when they see a demonstration like this, they know that, then there is a call from the citizens. So they speed up the process for us. That's why we are here. We are going 14 days, minus the weekends. So after 14 days, if you are not getting what we want, we'll continue to do it. And we know, at the court yesterday, before they truncated the proceedings, we heard that the state attorney put before the judge that there is a petition from Ghana to extradite Ken Ofori-Atta, and the judge said it's not before him. So that alone is good. When we started here yesterday, it was 3 a.m. in the USA. So before they got to the courts, they've seen whatever happened here. They've got the pictures, the videos, and all that. So we'll continue to pursue until we achieve what we want.
I'm grateful to you. So that's Hobson Adoye, a member of the United Party.
On to transportation now. Frustration and pressure among commuters in Ghana's capital, Accra, over long waiting times and overcrowded buses during rush hour has forced Metro Mass Transit Limited to deploy additional buses on major routes across Accra. Now, the intervention comes after weeks of complaints from passengers struggling to secure transport during peak periods. Metro Mass Transit says the move is expected to reduce waiting times and ease congestion, particularly during the morning and evening rush hours. Routes benefiting from additional buses include the Accra Central Business District to Kaswa, Kaneshi to Kaswa, Kaneshi to Amasaman, Circle to Amasaman, Cycle to Nungwa, 37 Opebia to Adenta, Shashi to Adenta, Ukbonglo to La Paz, and Shashi to Circle. We're now joined on phone by Managing Director of Metro Mass Transit. Well, he's joined us via Zoom. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Will this deployment be enough to deal with the current rush hour transportation shortages? Kindly unmute.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you now. Thank you.
I hear you now.
Yes.
Good afternoon and to all our cherished viewers and listeners across the country. Well, I think, as you have said, we've put these contingency measures in place to ensure that the pressure that is emanating from the scrambling for buses, and as we term as rush hours, will be easier. But it cannot be enough anyway. But at least it's a measure that will actually reduce the pressure. We really started this exercise not just today, not just yesterday. We started it since the UTAG, because we anticipated that during the festive season, demand for transport services will increase. And so strategically, my operations department sat down and strategized. The vehicles that actually come in from the various districts and regions, when they get here in the evening, we redeploy them to soak up this kind of pressure.
Right. Mr. Kali, let me understand, will this be permanent, or you shall just be testing to see when the pressure comes down, you withdraw these buses?
No, it will be permanent. We'll continue to do this because the pressure cannot, for me, from the look of things, the pressure will never come down anytime soon, because once you have an economy booming and commercial activities have increased, you have petrol and fuel have been reduced, definitely more vehicles will be trooping into the business center. You have more Ghanaians also trooping into the commercial business center to trade. So this pressure will continue to be there. We will put this as a permanent measure until we have more fleet of buses coming in to salvage the situation.
Okay. Are you planning on deploying an additional buses, or at least expand to other corridors where the pressure as well persists?
Well, our fleet of buses have actually dwindled down to all-time low, and because of that, we are only strategically managing it. Because, mind you, Metro Mass is not supposed to provide transport services for only the metropolis.
Right.
It is for all Ghanaians, and especially to serve the underserved communities. And so what we've done is that some of our buses that are coming from the districts and other regions into the capital city, when they get here, definitely they'll be going the next day. And so we strategize and put those buses that are here and reroute them so that to soak up this pressure. And we'll be doing that strategically every now and then to ensure that the pressure that is emanating from the scrambling for transport services in the evening is eased up a bit.
I mean, regardless of the new addition, are the fares as well the same as we know? Or because of the demand, are you going to adjust fares in any way?
No, you know, Metro Mass is actually a social intervention outfit. And we are mandated to actually provide affordable, available, and efficient transport system for the general public. And so we want even the private operators are increasing their lorry fares. We maintain our lorry fares because we know we are supposed to serve the poor populace in the country. And so it's difficult for us to increase our fares. But as and when maybe fuel, goes high and spare parts go high, then we have a conversation on that as to whether to increase a little bit or not.
Well,
so
Mr. Kali,
now, our fares generally are very, very low.
Mr. Kali, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us on the news. Mr. Cesario Kali is Managing Director for Metro Mass Transit Limited. Still on transportation, the Ghana Private Road Transport Union has launched an operation at Ablekuma and arrested 15 drivers for allegedly charging multiple fares. According to the task force, this is part of broader measures to address growing driver indiscipline in the city and to tackle transport challenges in Accra. Speaking to Joy News, National Guards Commander of the GPRTU, Drummond Eko-Gazi, said this is part of a tougher step by the union to curb illegal operations by drivers. Meanwhile, some of the arrested drivers said the arrests were unjustified, claiming they had not charged multiple fares at the time of the arrest. Let's now go live to Ablekuma, where my colleague Fatau Bayaga is currently monitoring their development. Fatau, what more are drivers saying, or have they arrested more of these drivers?
The number has not changed as of now, but the drivers are concerned about this particular arrest. They say that their arrest was unjustified. They say that there's no evidence backing this particular arrest. In fact, some of them claim that the officers should have disguised themselves to board their vehicles to be sure whether they were charging unapproved fares or they were charging passengers multiple times on the same trip. So it's been quite a very big concern for the drivers who have been arrested here. But for the GPRTU officers here, they also been justifying the arrest and saying that they did that because they want to address the general indiscipline among drivers here in the city and also to tackle the general transport challenges in Accra. But I have the national commander of the task force here with me, Drummond Eko-Gazi. Thank you very much for making time to join us here. Talk to us about what informed this arrest and also respond to the claims made by the drivers that your arrest was unjustified.
Oh, thank you. Good afternoon to my cherry listeners. And then I want to say, on arrest that we have made now is about the unlawful entry. One, some of them do overcharge, and then some of them also do take short distance. Instead of going to maybe from Awoshi to Kaneshi, he will tell you he's going to Ablekuma or Anya, then he will drop you there, and then the same person will continue the same journey again. And this is why, especially these drivers here today, you are seeing, they are the short men, which we have arrested now.
But many of them say that, your officers did not have evidence to back this particular arrest. They say that, in fact, at the time they were arrested, they were not doing anything like short.
My brother, will you believe if you have nothing doing, we can arrest you? Like some of the drivers are telling me now, he was going to purchase what they call it is roadworthy. Roadworthy doesn't concern anything at the lorry park, you see. So if you tell me you are going for a roadworthy, it is not justifiable. Because you were mentioning Odoko, Kanishi. You see. Meanwhile, you are not in that jurisdiction. So you can't tell me it is not justified. I believe it.
Thank you very much. So that's been the situation here at Ablekuma, where some drivers have been arrested for charging unapproved fares and also doing floating driving here. MFA, back to you.
But did they tell you what they do with these drivers that they arrest? We'll bring you that answer a bit later. But if I try again, Fatau, if you can hear me, what do they do with these drivers that they arrest?
So, Mr. Gazi, you've arrested 15 drivers this afternoon. What next for these drivers?
We are here to hand over to the police, for the police to take action. And our officers are also here. So I think the next procedure is the officers and the police.
Yeah. But I heard earlier that these drivers will be processed for court. Is that the case?
Exactly true. Exactly true.
You think this will be deterrent enough to maybe stopping other drivers from doing this?
I am sure you also believe it is going to happen. Because when some of these people are seen on the national daily that this is what's happening, they are not going to do.
All right, thank you so much, Fatah. We definitely will bring you more of that in our subsequent bulletins, but I shall now bring you some updates in illegal mining. The National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat has beefed up its presence in the Bono region a day after an attack on its task force at Doma led to the death of an illegal miner. The Secretariat says it intends to stay in the area a while longer to deal with illegal mining threats in the area. One Naima soldier sustained a gunshot wound, and a young man suspected to be part of an illegal mining gang died of bullet wounds after an ambush on the task force between Subin Krom and Chermaso in the Doma Central District. A statement from NIMAS indicates the armed thugs fired into the rear tire of the task force, leading vehicle injuring a soldier. The return fire leading to the death of one of the attackers. But NIMAS says personnel are not leaving the area until their anti-Galamsey mission there is complete. Erastus Asari Donko has been monitoring events and has joined us. Erastus, would you give me an update as to today now? What's happening?
Well, currently, as we speak, personnel of NIMUS have been beefed up in the Doma area. I do understand that they are combing the area, one, to arrest the rest of the perpetrators of the attack yesterday on the team, and two, to also raid illegal mining camps within the area and flush out all illegal miners and establish their authority within the area before they leave. So currently, as I speak with you, quite a number of illegal mining sites within the Doma enclave are being raided at the moment. Equipment used in illegal mining activities are being destroyed as we speak. Personnel have been added, reinforcement have been added to the men on the ground to be able to complete their operations within that enclave before they leave the Bono region for other regions.
Okay, Erastus, what do we know about this young man who is suspected to be part of an illegal mining gang?
Well, so what we do understand now is that yesterday he was part of a gang of 3 on a motorbike that attacked personnel of NIMUS. They opened fire on the rear tire of the lead vehicle of the team, and leading to an injury, a gunshot injury of one of the soldiers. And so they had to return fire, and in the process, he died, and the rest fled the scene upon realizing that he has been shot. If you look at the body of the deceased, you could see talismans and charms, fortifying him. Indeed, they believe that those charms cannot be penetrated by bullets, but it was when he fell that the rest of the gang also bolted. And so currently, as we speak, his body has been deposited at the mortuary. They are conducting fresh investigations. They have filed a formal complaint with the Doma police, and there's a manhunt for the rest of the team.
Erasmus, before I let you go, how serious is illegal mining in this particular area?
It is very rife in the Bono area. It did not used to be about 2 years back, but recently the Doma enclave, Wenchi, and other areas have seen sustained illegal mining activities within that area.
Okay. Erasmus, thank you so much for that update. I'll take you to the Ashanti region. Our residents of Numereso, a rural community in the Amensiet Central District in the Ashanti region, are compelled to climb a nearby mountain for hours to access mobile phone networks, highlighting the community's long-standing digital isolation. The community has been without reliable mobile connectivity since 2018, when efforts to extend network coverage to the area reportedly failed. According to residents, assessing a stable signal requires traveling to a designated spot on the mountain, where they often spend more than 3 hours to make or receive calls. Many are forced to hire motorbikes to reach the location, increasing their financial burden.
According to the residents, accessing a stable signal requires traveling to a designated spot on the mountain, where they often spend more than 3 hours to make or receive calls. Many are forced to hire motorbikes to reach the location, increasing their financial burden. Beyond the inconvenience, residents say the situation poses serious security and privacy concerns, with calls made in open bushes. Personal conversations are easily overheard, while criminals are said to target residents carrying mobile phones.
Because
we are having serious challenges in accessing mobile network. Mostly, we use motorbikes and sometimes sit in the bush, which is very dangerous.
Because baby, I want to make me one free baby. I want to ban network more 20 minutes, 30 minutes. To Uber high door for every network no pa.
We are suffering. The authorities should intervene. The Unit Committee Secretary of Numeriso, Isaac J. Bafo, described the lack of mobile connectivity as a major threat to community scrutiny. He explained the absence of reliable networks makes it difficult to alert the police during robbery incidents and other emergencies. This is the designated area for making calls, and this has put our security under threat. If someone offends you and you should make calls to the police, it's very difficult accessing them. The residents are appealing to the government and telecommunications companies to prioritize the extension of mobile network coverage to the area. Joseph Obains reports for JoyNews.
Now, the University Teachers Association of Ghana, University of Ghana branch, says it will not back down on its demand for the resignation of the director of the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission and his deputy, despite calls from vice-chancellors Ghana for a more measured approach to resolving the impasse. According to UTAG-UG President Jerry Joe Harrison, the association intends to petition the Chief of Staff and will embark on an industrial action if GTEC director and his deputy fail to step aside.
I don't know what further engagement they are talking about. These administrative breaches have gone on for far too long. We have engaged them, several times, and VCG themselves have been part of several meetings that we've had. So whilst I'm not surprised, I don't know what other engagement they are talking about, unless they can elaborate on exactly how they think this new engagement is going to yield a different result. We plan to send a petition to the Chief of Staff if they do not resign honorably, and if that doesn't get heeded, we will definitely embark on industrial action.
Meanwhile, Vice-Chancellors Ghana say they will continue to push for dialogue to help all parties reach an agreement, stressing that calls for the removal of GTEC boss and his deputy do not, in their view, address the root of the problem. Here is the Executive Secretary of Vice-Chancellors Ghana, Cynthia Sena-Beglo.
I think that's what I've been saying all along. We will encourage us to all go back to the drawing board and find out what exactly is the problem. The issues they've raised, some are specific to their campus and some are generic in nature. And if we go around the table, we are sitting together, then they will learn that many of the generic issues we have raised, we have already, have engagement with UTAG. We've also had engagement with the Minister for Education. And many of these issues are in the stage of being resolved. Sometimes they just require some statistics and logistics to do so. So even if they say it's absolute, then we are not seeking a solution to the problem. I don't think that if we get certain people out of the office, then the issues will be solved. There are four.
You're watching News Today. Please stay for Business Update.
Welcome back to Business here on JoyNews Today. My name is Winston Paki, and as our first business story, the Ministry of Finance has revealed that it shall begin the strict enforcement of insurance for local commercial cargo from the 1st of February this year. According to the ministry, the law which mandates all importers into Ghana must be insured locally under the Insurance Act, which will protect small and medium businesses from potential risks associated with carriage of goods. Coordinating Director at the Ministry of Finance, David Clotte Collinson, made this revelation at the investiture of the 12th President of the Ghana Insurance Association.
In an era of heightened global uncertainty, climate risks, health emergencies, and technological disruptions, a resilient and inclusive insurance sector is no longer an option, but essential. Government recognizes that the insurance industry must evolve to respond to Ghana's changing economic structure and demographic realities. While we have made commendable progress over the years, insurance penetration remains modest, particularly among the micro, small, and medium enterprises, informal sector operators, rural communities, women, and persons with disability. These are precisely the groups that are most vulnerable to shocks and least able to recover without adequate risk protection. This is why the government, through the Ministry of Finance, working closely with the National Insurance Commission, is pursuing a deliberate reform agenda aimed at deepening insurance penetration, strengthening consumer confidence, and positioning the industry as a driver of inclusive growth. In line with government's commitment to strengthen the domestic insurance market, I wish to reiterate that the Ministry of Finance has directed the Ghana Revenue Authority to collaborate with the Bank of Ghana to enforce the mandatory local cargo insurance for all commercial imports into Ghana effective 1st February 2026, in accordance with Section 22 of the Insurance Act 2021, Act 1061. This measure is intended to protect shippers, deepen local participation, retain insurance premiums within the economy, and support sustainable industry growth.
Away from that, Ghana and China have signed a $30 million grant agreement to support the construction of a university in Damongo. Here's more in this report.
The agreement was signed during the meeting between the Minister for Finance, Dr. Kasiela Forson, and the outgoing Chinese ambassador to Ghana, Tong Defang. Dr. Forson expressed appreciation to the ambassador on behalf of the President, John Dramani Mahama, and the people of Ghana, acknowledging his role in strengthening bilateral relations between the two countries. The minister noted that although Ambassador Tong's tenure was brief, it coincided with the conclusion of two significant grant agreements for Ghana, funding for a multi-purpose market in Aplau, and the $30 million grant for the construction of the university in Damongo. He further highlighted the broader contribution of Chinese support and investment to Ghana's economy, reaffirming that Ghana deeply values its long-standing relationship with China, which dates back to the era of President Kwame Nkrumah and Chairman Mao. Dr. Forson underscored the need to deepen economic cooperation by reducing exchange losses associated with bilateral trade. He indicated Ghana's interest in exploring trade settlements in the Ghanaian cedi and the Chinese currency RMB, noting that reliance on third-party currencies is inefficient when trade is conducted directly between Ghana and China. He assured the outgoing ambassador that these discussions would be pursued at the policy level, including engagement with the Bank of Ghana. Ambassador Tong expressed gratitude to the Finance Minister for the cooperation and support during his tour of duty and congratulated Dr. Forson on Ghana's improving economic performance. He stated his pride in the state of Ghana-China relations and noted his encouragement by the tangible outcomes achieved within a short period, particularly in the area of development cooperation.
That's all for business. My name is Winston Taki. Up next is sports.